Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I'm here with a quick how-to video. This is for some of the core space stuff that I am working on in between little bouts with 1985 Sacred Oil. Really good game. Make sure you check that one out if you're into the war game stuff. But this is from the Gates of Ry'sa expansion. All right, so this is part of all that Firstborn stuff, and it's got some real cool terrain. This is what you're looking at over here. So I thought I'd show you how to put together some of this, just these main pieces that come with this. The stuff that comes with the Firstborn set itself, I'm probably going to do a separate video because I'm not going to put together all of it. I've got so much of it left over from the original core space video. I don't need to put together all that, but there are some newer pieces like some of these little stone columns and things that I am going to do a little video putting together those items. And there are a few of these little small pieces that I'll include in on that. But on this video, we're just going to focus on our portal and our, what is this thing called? The power shard, right? So this big piece here and this big piece here. We'll start with our portal, so we'll slide this out of the way. This only has a few pieces to put together. It's actually a little bit easier than I thought. And when I was originally looking at this, one of the things I was thinking is that I might glue this portal piece in just right here so I don't have to worry about it falling out, but that's actually not going to work with the way this sets up. So don't do that even if the thought crosses your mind, because there's a very thin little piece. You guys can see it. So there's the portal piece that you're supposed to keep, and then this outer ring piece, and then there's a little piece in the center there that's not a part of that. That actually is excess, because this piece is going to go in the way of that. So don't try anything stupid. Thankfully, I caught myself before I did it. So let's poke out our pieces that we're going to need. Now, good part is we don't need too much for this whole portal piece, and it's relatively simple to put together. If you put together the stairs, you're pretty well on your way. So this long piece, of course, the portal itself, these two side pins, these two big ones, so between this one, this, and this, that's all kind of what holds it up, and then our stair pieces. Make sure you keep track of your stair pieces. It's not a big deal because you can see the difference, but it does list it so you guys can see. Bottom step, middle step, top step. Top step's easy because it has a lot more space on it. It's a slot to slide into the portal, which you'll see. And the bottom step is smaller than that middle step, and that's because the thing has that kind of V shape setup to it. So make sure you keep track of which is which and don't try to jam those in the wrong spots. So let's poke out our pieces here real quick. All right, so this stuff we're not going to need. We'll leave that in there for now. Make sure when you're putting this stuff together that you do have a little X-Acto blade, can come in handy, and your glue, which my wife, I think, messed up the lid on mine because it no longer fits, unfortunately. But this is the type of glue I recommend. They haven't sponsored me, nothing like that, but I think this stuff works well. Works almost instantly with this type of material. And if you get the medium fill, right, so the medium flow, it won't leak out everywhere. You can get the one that's thicker than this. It's in a pink bottle, but that might bubble up and leave you kind of like a spot on it. This is thick enough that it's not going to just flow out there, but thin enough that it will kind of flow into the spaces that you need to. The blue bottle, when it comes to this stuff, is the very thin stuff, and it's got a more of a water consistency to it, and it'll definitely flow out. Now I've got this stuff too, this Tamiya extra thin cement, and this is definitely just like water. I'm not sure how it's going to react on this type of material, but I wanted to try it for some of the smaller thin pieces on those stone pieces. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here in just a second. All right, so once we have our pieces laid out here, make sure you keep track of this piece specifically. There's two sides to it. There's the outer side and the inner side. You can tell the inner side because it's got the blue like activation and it kind of matches up with that portal. This is when the side that needs to be on the inside, because we're going to bend this around on the inside of this. So it needs to be facing in. When we're looking at our portal, knock out our little pieces here. And depending on the piece that you're putting together, sometimes you want to leave those in until afterwards if you want the structure to be a little more rigid as you're like jamming the pieces in there. That little piece, that's fine. We can go ahead and knock out our portal. And when we knock out our portal, you guys will see that this pops off. This is that little ring that I was talking about. So now this thing doesn't fit in there exactly perfectly anymore. But that's because this is going to be bent around to fit in there on that. All right, so you have to be careful with that. That's why I was looking at this and I was thinking, hey, I might be able to just glue that portal in, that way I don't have to worry about it. Nope, we're not going to be able to do it that easy. That's just a scrap piece. This is very similar to the barrels and other stuff, anything round, right? The chambers, the little isolation chambers they have, it's got a bunch of little half cuts all along this back side here. And you need to give it just little bends all the way around to get it to arc around, because we want to make a circle here on the inside of this. But you don't want to overbend this. You don't want to give it too much, because this needs to have a little bit of pressure coming back on the back end of it. See how we've kind of bent it around? So pull it back out. That way it's going to be pushing up flush against this. Now, if you do have a problem with that, you can fix it with glue, because a piece like this, you are going to glue it together. I mean, there's really no reason not to. Now, when you're getting ready to put this on here, there is a little notch right here at the top, okay? And down here at the bottom, you see how there's a little indent here on each side? The little indent is where that's going to slot in. And if I can find it, you see right there, there's a little piece that pokes out. Let me get it poked out so I can show you easier. Okay, so there you go. You can see that there's just that. Let me hold something white behind it. You see how there's a little tiny notch. That's what's sliding into that. And when I was watching Core Space, because they do their own videos as well, Battle Systems does, showing this, they mentioned how this is slightly offset. And looking at it, it is just a touch offset on how it notches in. It's just a little bit farther towards this downside than it is that upside. It's not perfectly square in there. So you have to be careful and make sure you've got it in the right orientation when you're putting it in here. I think this is the way this is supposed to go. So let's start pulling that around. And that notches in real easy. So we just have to push that on. That's looking good. And bring these last pieces around here and push that in. And wow, that does look good. That looks so good right there. Look at that. Gives that nice 3D effect, right? Makes it look so good. Front and back on this. And that's what I love. It's cardboard, a little laminated cardboard, but it looks so damn good on the table. Gives you that appearance of that fully fleshed out terrain that you've put together and painted and done all that with very little effort. Now, I am going to come back after I get done putting this together, and I'm going to push this out a little bit, and I'm going to come along right here along this edge, probably on the back side, and glue all of that in so it hangs nice and snug and stays up against that so it doesn't, start pulling back out later. All right, so once we get to this point, it is relatively simple to keep going with this. Now, this is like stairs. Like I said, if you put together the stairs before, you're going to have a good idea of how this is all going to start notching together. These are your main pieces to do this, and they point this out, and this is something I like to point out as well. There's your, what they call the stamp side. It's the front and back of these sheets, and the front side is just a little more rounded off. So this is my front side over here. Lay that face down so I know it's going to go on this side. This is my front side over here. That way I'm keeping track as I'm getting ready to slot these in. And I noticed that just a little bit of this didn't come out. That's why you want to have a little bit of X-Acto blade hanging around. Get those little pieces. Bam, perfect, just like that. So once we get to this point, we're going to come in between these little pokers here, and there's a little slot where it notches in. If we can get in the hole and get that in there, boom, fits perfect. Look at that, bam, just like that. It's looking beautiful already. I love it. And this one we're going to do the same. And right up, get in there. Perfect, perfect. All right, now I'm going to have to adjust it a little bit and make sure it's flat. I think I need to come up a little bit farther on this side. Make sure you get it perfect and you've got a nice flush piece before you get all your glue set up. I don't think my table's perfectly flat. I think that's causing me a bit of a problem. All right, so we're good here. I've got that organized, and you'll notice how those pieces are sloping up because of that angle. And that's why I was mentioning earlier to keep your stairs in mind, because it's going to be bottom, medium, top. So the shorter pieces are going to go in here at the bottom, and it's going to pull this together just a little bit. That's why you always want to finish the piece before you start gluing. So let's get this lined up. Bottom short one right here. And just like that. And you want to just push it in there gently. These pieces slot nice and flush. They're not overly tight, so you don't have to jam it, you know, force that thing on there. And this one should slide in just as well. All right, I missed that slot. There we go. And get that on there. Way on there, good. No, I think I'm missing it. Yep, I missed a slot on both sides. Perfect, there we go. Make sure you're checking it as you're going along with it, because on both sides, just because of that little bit of an arch there, it was one to tilt up a little bit because it's pulling things in and snugging it up. Now, here's the thing. Right here, and this is part of the reason I was glad that I watched their video before I did it myself. This piece is what's going to hold this portal on when it's on there, right? So you see at the bottom of the portal, there's this little notch, and this notches in together, but this is set to be real snug, right? And this, hell, this didn't even punch out. Look at that. Okay, let's get that out. It seems like the top's good. Now, me personally, I'm probably just going to glue in the portal permanently to not have to worry about it, because I don't want to worry about the portal piece getting lost. That's going to be up to you if you take that step. This is designed for you not to do that, so you have the ability to show the portal as active or not active. It's totally up to you on whether or not you decide to glue in the portal permanently. I'm probably going to do it just because I don't want to lose the piece. Yeah. One of the things they suggested is this is overly snug on both of these pieces. You want to give it a little test fit, but you see how tight that is, and it's causing that piece to kink just a little bit. Not to mention, when you're putting this on in game, or during your game, it's not just this piece. You're going to have this like with it. So it's going to be even harder, and see how it's kind of kinking that over as well. So we need to loosen both of these up. They need to be tight, but they don't need to be that tight and cause it to bend. So I'm going to, let's see, I might try my little knife trick first, see if that works, and then maybe an X-Acto blade. They cut this just a little bit. All right. My thing is I like to try to just do it this way and just see if I can space it out just a little bit without having to cut off anything, because you really only need about an extra millimeter, because like I said, you want it snug, but you don't want it over snug to where it's causing any twisting. But this is so tight that I think it might need to have just a little bit trimmed off of it. All right, I'm gonna try it this way and see if it works. since I'm planning on making my portal a permanent piece here, I'm doing it this way, but you decide for yourself which way you're gonna do it. And get this lined up on those old notches. I might have to put the portal on afterwards. I was hoping I could just slide it on here. If I can get this notched. Okay, there we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? That way, I think just removing the portal on and off, on and off, on and off is going to cause too many problems over time, and it just looks so freaking good, man. I mean, this piece looks so good like that I'm good with leaving it and just pretending that the portal's off if I need to, but I don't want to lose these pieces. Now, we've only got a couple pieces left, a couple little side arch pieces that we're going to stick on to give it more, just a little more stability and make it look a little spikier. All right, and we'll pull these around. I want to put this piece, the front side, facing right there. Make sure I get it flush with the ground. And same thing here on this side. Get her locked in there. And this one's just a little bit tighter than that side. Coming in there sideways on me. Let's see. No, got in there pretty good. Oh, that one did come in sideways. All right, let me try that again. Okay, finally got it. That little piece was trying to tilt under for some damn reason on me, but I was finally able to get it, and it arched around, connected up to the stairs. It doesn't slide into the stair or anything, but it's touching it. But just like that, we are done. We've got ourselves a neat looking little portal staircase here, front and back. Now, like I said, I'm going to come through and I'm going to glue all of these joints up. All right, so the portal for me going to be a permanent fixture. It will work taking it in and out, but you're supposed to pull it by this little piece here. And I think that's just going to wear over time. I'd rather just glue in that portal because, like I said, it looks so good. And the fact that they took the time to come up with a way so the portal doesn't actually touch the edge, right here all the way around. So it is kind of like a mystical portal right there in the center. That is so neat that they found a way to actually do that. It looks really good. All these little back joints, this little piece, especially this round piece, I'm going to come through and make sure that's pulled up snug up against that outer piece, that outer ring, and just hit it with a little bit of glue all the way around to make sure that it looks good and it's going to stay snug on there. And I'm wondering if, since I'm going to make this a permanent piece, I might pull that little connector off and just glue in the portal itself, but the connector does such a good job of holding the portal in the right place. I don't know. I probably will leave it. We'll see. And I was wondering actually if they showed that little connector piece or not, because I had noticed it before. But to be fair, they've got it in their pictures of it put together. It does show that little piece that you use to connect the portal to that upper stair there. So they are being honest with their displays. I appreciate that. That's really good of them to do that. All right, so our second piece is going to be one of these power shards. There's two of them included with this. You're going to have one on each side. For our video, we're just going to put together one, because when you put together one, you know how to put together two. And thankfully, like everything else, it's labeled and there's not a whole lot of pieces for it. So when you're looking at it, you'll see it says power shard, power shard. Now there's another one up here, power shard, but here in the middle, it says other stuff. All right, so it's target token. These are pieces that actually don't have to do with this power shard. So remember that when you punch this out, this is actually being removed for the shard itself. So we got that one, this one, and then this piece. These four pieces make up the main portion of the shard itself. Now, there are a few pieces that get tacked onto it afterwards, and I'll show you guys those, but to actually build the little monolith looking thing, those are the four pieces you need. All right, so we got our 4 pieces laid out here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this center piece because this is not needed. And there are a few little tabs that come out here on the side. There's another one right here. If I can get it to poke out. There we go. And I think another one right there. Perfect. Got that out. And I think that's all of them. Might not be, but eh. Now this is the bottom piece. So we can just set that down and boom, we're done right there. Now, something like I was mentioning earlier is if you're applying pressure, and this is just my recommendation for whatever piece you're working on, not necessarily this piece specifically, but if you're working on something where you've got to push on it and it's got some of these little notches on it where you poke out stuff and you have to apply pressure to get things notched in, you can wait to push those out until later just so it's a little more stable. Here, this is not going to matter because this is just a piece that we're going to fold over. My little girl calling me for supper. All right, let's pull this out. Pull this out. Now, this has 2 big lines going up and down right through the center of it. It needs to be folded over all the way top to bottom. And this one isn't a delicate fold. This is a fold the hell out of this thing. Fold it all the way over because it needs to be stable. Remember, this is going to be standing up like this. Whoop, bumping my camera. It's going to be standing up like this once we get it folded over. And it has to fit within here. So you know this is going to be folded as a permanent fold and a pretty severe one. Be delicate though as you're doing it. I know you're folding cardboard, but it is pre-cut and it's supposed to do this. So just do it gently and you'll get there. Just like that. That's what you're looking for right there. And you can see your notches start to line up where everything's going to go. Now, before we continue, we're going to go ahead and fold this one over as well, because this is kind of used to give us that 3D effect that we get on this power shard. It's got the same type of fold on it to cause it to fold over like this, but it's going to be going like this. All right. See how those notches line up? Bam. You see you're heading in the right direction already. All right. To do a little test fit here, make sure we're working out right. All right. See how this is going to be going in here? This is our bottom piece. Okay. And this, obviously, is going to be our center piece going up through here to kind of hold everything together. All right. Once you get here, you got this folded over, ready to go. Set it to the side with your bottom piece and get this one ready. It, like the others, has some little folds here at the top, and that is for this section. All right, so it'll fold over and cover this out and make this look like one nice solid piece. So be careful when you're doing this. And unfortunately, this one, zoom in there, you see it's got a little fold. So it's got a couple little folds real close on it. Get that folded around. Kind of like that. And we're going to push it up through the center and we'll pull it back into the right shape when we get it up there. Big thing is you want to pay attention to these notches here. And I think these, if I remember right, what they were saying is they were a little too snug, these ones here. So I'm going to push these apart just a little bit. Down here, you'll notice that they're actually fairly wide. And that's because of this extra piece. So you're going to have 2 pieces, this one and this one, slotting in here, holding it together, okay? But we put this on first and then slot that over it. All right, so I gave that just a couple of little baby swipes just to try and make sure that it'll slide in there easy, because if you look here, And here you see notches where we're sliding in, and then also here on the bottom on each side. So those 4 slots all have to line up together. And it's a little bit of a pain. You gotta kind of close those vines around it and get all 4 lined up at the same time. The bottom 2 aren't going to be that hard because you got that extra space, but these are going to be a little bit of pain. So pull that back. Make sure we're lining up there right. It shouldn't be too tight because I don't want to force this thing. I'm going to glue it, okay? You don't have to glue these pieces. They're all designed to hold together with the exception of some of the decorative pieces that just attach on. So it should slide together. But since I'm gluing it, I'm not too concerned if I have to cut it just a little bit to make it slide in there easy without bending. But I think we're getting there fairly nice. All right, you see I'm not quite there on the bottom yet. Still got just a little bit. Get in there. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. All right, come on, even out on me. And now pull this out just a little bit. All right, come on. There we go. And, oh wait, how does that go? Looks like that tucks in maybe. Okay, yeah, that does tuck in like that to make it hold perfect. Okay, so that little fold there at the top is designed to tuck that piece in there behind there to give it a little bit of a spring so it holds in. Oh, perfect. Oh, we're looking good. We're looking good. Now here I would stop and finagle this just a little bit. Do a little test fit here and make sure you're lining up. Because, and you can tell I'm lining up, because there are notches on each side where these pieces are supposed to go. Okay? But you want to put this here and get it kind of centered, because now this is the part where this is going to slide in over top of this. All right, and it's going to give it that 3D effect. All right, and it's supposed to push down in there as well. So just put it flat on the table and push. Just like that. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that, man. Look at that. Just snugged right in. And like I said, you don't have to glue this, but I'm going to because it's going to make it so much better. Come right along here, along the base, and just tack that whole damn thing in, and it's going to look so freaking good. Little vines hanging off. We got our little 3D effects hanging on here. But yeah, I want to glue this in same way as like the portal where it's bent, but it's supposed to be springy a little bit to push it out in the right spot. That's the same way that this bottom piece is. I need to put something underneath this though before I tack it so I don't get any of this on my mat. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along with my glue and just put a little bead all the way across here at the bottom, all the way around to hold that. And then anywhere where it could potentially be weak, maybe along here where the bends are, just to kind of strengthen that up so it doesn't tear over time here at the top. Anywhere where you've got folds or open parts of the cardboard, it's perfectly fine to hit that with a little bit of glue. And this stuff, all it does is just darken up a little bit of that cardboard. So it's not going to change the color. It's not going to make anything look bad. Yeah, and you can see where some of the bend is here. It's causing this to twist just a little bit. So I want to get this lined up and hit that with some glue right here along the base because it's causing it to just twist a little bit because of the bends in it. But the other stuff that I was talking about, and this is something that I like that they did, okay? All of these little pieces are designed as decorative pieces that actually go on here, and they've got the same piece drawn on there. So you don't actually have to do this if you don't want to, but you can do it, and it makes the piece look just that much better by giving it a little bit more of a 3D effect. Let me pull this extra bit off. All right. So you see how this matches right up with that. It looks the exact same. And what you want to do, you want to line it right up just like that. And it gives it even more that 3D effect. Same way that this folded over this part of the power shard to give it more of a 3D effect. This is going on it. And they've got these little round circles that are going to go on each side of it. And then you can see down here at the bottom, these two pieces. I'm trying not to move this thing too much because I've got it in the right spot, but screw it. Right here at the bottom, these pieces, right? Same thing as these pieces. All you got to do is line them up. That's it. Couple on each side, glue them on, and it's going to make it look so good. But while I'm on camera, I'll try this because I've never used any of this stuff with this before, and we'll try it just to see how well it works. And part of the reason I want to try using this is it's got that little bit of a brush on it, but at least this would be underneath it. So if I mess this up and it causes like lamination issues or something like that, then it's already under something that I'm covering up anyway. This little brush doesn't get a whole lot on there, but I don't want a whole lot anyway. So let's try lining this up and see if this will hold it. Like that. Okay. I've got it lined up with it. And like I said, that Bob Smith CA glue, it holds it almost instantly, and this is definitely not not holding it at all. It's sliding all off. So yeah, that cement, no go, no go. And I can't tell, is that lightening it up a little bit? No, I think that's part of the design on it. I think so. On the off chance that that discoloration here at the bottom isn't deliberate and it's part of that glue, I'll let you know. But this, it did not hold it at all. So yeah, go with Bob Smith's instead. This little CA cement stuff did not work. I've never tried any of this on other stuff. I only use it on a few plastic models. So live and you learn. Live and you learn. But we're going to come back and tack that little piece on. Glue the other pieces, and then glue just all the joints up, and we'll be good to go. But that is going to go together with our little portal like that, and we'll have two of these on each side. And tell me that's just not going to look excellent. Just freaking excellent on the table, man. I mean, this is some cool ass terrain, and you didn't have to spend hours putting it together. You didn't have to spend hours painting it. Just snap it together, put a few dots of glue, and you're good to go. Looks gorgeous. If you guys haven't watched it, watch my video on Bolt Action, the World War II skirmish game. All the terrain in that, except for the mat itself, was this stuff. Was battle system stuff, building that I put together, and it looks so good. I had a whole village of terrain. Didn't have to spend hours building, painting, and doing all that stuff to make it look good. Now, yeah, I mean, wooden stuff and styrofoam and all the other crap that you see these professional guys putting together and painting, it will look better in the end because when you get close, you can tell it's cardboard. But that takes the time and skill and effort. I don't have the time nor the skill. I don't mind the effort, but I certainly don't have the first two to do that level quality, right? So if I wanted to build something like this, I'm not good enough to make something that good, on my own. Not yet, anyway. Maybe if I worked at it for years. But with this short amount of time to have terrain that looks this good, man, I can't preach highly enough how much I like this stuff. All right, but you guys stay tuned. I will have videos showing how to put together some more of the smaller pieces that I'm going to use in the Firstborn set. And I do actually have an idea for the portal. And I'm going to bring in my pirate crew from the first few playthroughs that I've done into this game. And I'm planning on having like the portal be something. What I'm thinking is like the bounty hunter. They're getting chased by a bounty hunter because of their crimes. They end up crashing their ship somewhere, and they find a portal, and they go through it. And then all of a sudden they're in this strange area with aliens that they've never encountered before, and they've got to try to escape being chased by a bounty hunter and, you know, cool firstborn aliens. You guys stay tuned. As soon as I get done painting those guys up, we will be getting started with that. All right, y'all take care. I'll see you in the next one.